everyone, my name is Jade and today I am surrounded by dogs as I'm currently looking after my mum's 2 dogs as well as my own. So we've got Poppy back here, Kitty, then we've got Panda down here, Pans, and Teddy over there just looking at me. So if there are dogs in and out of the frame, I'm sorry, this is just my life really. If you watched my last video and you saw the dog coat, then I'm basically morphing into the crazy dog lady that I feared I would become. So today I'm going to be sharing with you my top 5 tips for how to go thrift shopping in the UK. So over the last year or so I have got super into thrifting or secondhand shopping, whatever you like to call it, and a lot of the thrift shoppers that I watch on YouTube and a lot of the kind of hauls that I watch are from people that are based in the US, and it seems like the thrifting scene is very different in the US than the UK. So I thought for anyone that is maybe coming to visit the UK and wants to go thrifting, or if you live in the UK and you want to get into it, then I would make this video and share everything I've learned over the past couple of years, and especially some of the mistakes I've made, and you can learn from them so you don't have to make them too. So tip number 1, and this is definitely my favourite tip, is to go to boot sales. So I think when people want to go secondhand shopping in the UK, the first thing that springs to mind is charity shops, which can be an absolutely amazing way to find bargain clothes and support a charity at the same time. But all of my best bargains and my favourite finds have come from boot sales, so I would highly recommend you head to your local one. So for those of you that don't know, because I do think it is quite a British thing, a boot sale is where a bunch of cars and vans will go to a field and the sellers pay a pitch fee, probably around £10 to £15, and then you'll typically put up a table and a rail and you can sell everything from tools to toys to homeware to clothing, and then buyers come round and it will either be free to enter or just £1 or £2, and everything is priced very low. So usually for clothing things will be £1 or £2 an item, which is crazy when you think about it, but from a seller's perspective it is great to just get rid of a bunch of your stuff all in one day and make some money from it. So often when my mum and I have a big clear out, we will do a boot sale, and whatever we don't sell we will drop to the charity shop on the way home. So some of my best finds that I have got at the boot sale is my Ted Baker skirt, which I believe I showed in my last video, which was only £2 for like a skirt which was probably over £100 originally. And my mum got me the year before last for my birthday a vintage Tommy Hilfiger jean jacket, and if you went to one of those kind of fancy curated vintage stores, I'm sure that would be well over £50, and I think she got it for like £10. So it's definitely worth getting up early on a Sunday and hunting through the muddy fields to find some great bargains. If you want to find your local boot sale, just type in the area that you live and boot sale on Google, and I'm sure like for where I live in Kent you'll just get a whole list of all of the local boot sales, and they typically run kind of in the spring and summer months, so most of them are finished now, which is really sad. I'm missing them already. It's become part of my kind of weekly routine to get up pretty early, typically at 6 AM on a Sunday, and go around the boot sale. Tip number 2 is to find your local independent charity shop and check them out along with the big well-known ones. So there are certain large charities that have charity shops throughout the UK, and I tend to find that they are a lot better curated and organised, but also a bit more expensive. And interestingly, a lady in one of our local shops told us, I can't remember which charity it was, but I'm sure this is the same for a lot of them, but she said when they get really expensive designer items in, they send them to the London store because people are generally willing to pay more in central London, so they can charge more and obviously make more for the charity. So if you live somewhere that isn't a big main city or isn't London, then it might be harder in these big chain charity shops to find the higher end items. Whereas your local independent charity shop, if it's just a standalone, then everything they get they will put out as long as it's obviously in a good sellable condition. And I really love being able to support a local charity as well, especially if it's something that you really care about. So for example, my local independent charity shop is for people with learning difficulties, which is something that is super close to my heart, so I love to support them. I always donate my clothes to there when I have a clear out, and every time I go into town I always have a little look through there, and I found some amazing pieces. Like I think it was in my last video or the one before that, but I had a grey polka dot high neck jumper and I got that from there and it was only £2.50. So to find the charity shops on your local high street, I definitely would just recommend going on Google Maps and searching charity shop when you are in the high street, because this is how I found that local independent charity shop and a few others, because if they're not on like the main strip where you walk, it sounds like it's Vegas club night now, at the main strip, you know what I mean, the main high street, then you might miss them. But I often find a lot of the more independent ones are kind of down side roads or back streets, so it's definitely worth just having a hunt around your local area. Tip number 3 would be to ignore sizes, brands, genders, all of that when you are searching through charity shops. So unlike a typical shopping experience in a high street shop where you can go in and be like, I'm a size 14 or whatever it is in this shop, and I'm just going to go to the ladies section and I want this jumper and this colour. Charity shopping, you obviously have to look through a lot of things. So I have thrown all my kind of preconceptions of what size I want to look in, whether I want to just look in the women's section, what brands I want, out of the window. And I just look around, and if I like the way something looks and feels, and if it's in good condition and it fits me, then I will go from that, not from what a little label on the inside says, unless it says it contains animal products, in which case I don't buy it. So in my thrifted wardrobe, I have a real mix of things, from the men's section, from the women's section, from a size 8 up to a size probably 22, from brands like Primark to brands like Ted Baker. So it's just a huge mix, and I just go by it whether I like the item, whether it feels good quality, and if it makes me feel good when I try it on. Tip number 4 is to take your time and be patient. So this might sound like a bit of a silly one. Oh, Poppy didn't like it either. But it's definitely something that I have learnt to do over time, because I think we're all used to that typical shopping experience where, Poppy, you're right, where you can just go into a shop, grab something, you know, you have all of your sizes, all the colours to choose from. And obviously secondhand shopping is not like that, especially if you have something specific in mind. Like at the moment I am looking for a beige teddy bear coat. Yes, even after my wonderful dog coat experience from last week, I'm still not satisfied. I want just a traditional teddy bear coat, and I've been looking for a while and I haven't found one. So you have to kind of be willing to wait to get something, and you also have to be willing to kind of go through rails and rails of clothes. And there'll be some days that I go shopping and I might only get one thing, or I don't find anything I like. So I think it's definitely just a bit of a mental adjustment to get used to that compared to more traditional shopping in like high street shops. But now I absolutely love it. I enjoy it so much more because it's more exciting when you find something that you like, is in your size, it fits you, and everything kind of adds up. It's just such a great, rewarding feeling, and especially if you're buying from charity, knowing that you're helping charity at the same time. And whether it's at a charity shop or a boot sale or buying something secondhand online, you're definitely getting a much better bargain than if you bought something brand new. And finally, tip number 5 is just because everything's cheap, you don't have to buy it all. So this tip is definitely born from my biggest thrifting mistake. So when I first got into secondhand shopping, and particularly at boot sales where everything is from like 50p to £2 an item, I would just go crazy. If I remotely liked anything or thought I might like it and thought it might fit, I would just buy it. And I was thinking like, oh, it's okay, it's just £1, it's just £1, but then it would be like £1 here, £1 there, £1 everywhere. And before you know it, you've spent like £30 on 30 items and you only like one of them, and the rest are just taking up space in your wardrobe. So not only is it a waste of your money, but it is also a waste of your space, and kind of defeats the whole purpose of minimalism. I find that word so hard to say, which I'm really trying to be more minimal. So yeah, I have learnt the hard way to not just buy everything, and now I always ask myself the question, if this was full price in a regular high street shop, would I buy it? And if the answer is no, then I don't get it. And I guess that's not always true. Just as I was saying that, I was like, is that true? And it's not, because for example, the Ted Baker skirt that I spoke about at the start of this video, if that skirt was £100, I wouldn't get it. I'm rethinking the way I word this. I guess that only really works with more kind of regular, reasonably priced items. But I guess the whole gist of what I'm trying to say is really ask yourself, do I really like this? Do I really want it? Will it fit me? Is it actually gonna fit? Or am I just thinking like, oh, you know, if I suddenly go back to the size I was when I was 12, well, this will work? Or am I just buying it because it's £1? And I think in like the rare situations where you really love something but you're not sure if it's going to fit you and you can't try it on, if it's only £1, you can buy it and you can always donate it to a charity shop if it doesn't work. But I think what I was doing, where I was just buying everything, is obviously not sustainable and not the way forward. So just be mindful of your purchases. Note to self. So those are all of my thrifting tips. If you have any, I would love to hear them, so please feel free to comment them below. And I will see you next Monday with another video that probably won't be thrifting related, because this is 3 in a row now. So we'll probably chat about vegan food or something, but regardless, I will see you next Monday. Thanks for watching, bye! Did you enjoy that video, Pops?
No, it was really boring. You've made me fall asleep.